guys. Welcome to another episode of the Girl Get Visible podcast. So, today, once again, I have on one of my super friends, right? And in this case, one of my super sorors. And we are going to be talking to Ayesha Patrick about her journey into a couple of different realms, right? So, her journey into social media and becoming, I'm just gonna say, a social media star, right? A full-on influencer, and then how she uses her influence and her passions to also help with her one of her major causes, which is psoriasis, and bringing more information about that to our community, right? Because we have these problems too, right? So bringing that awareness to our communities and just overall helping people see, that it happens, that there's ways forward, there's where things we can work through, and using her influence to really help with a lot of her different passions and organizations, and also spinning it off a little bit into business. But I really wanted to have Aisha on today. A, because I know she's dope, but B,
Oh,
because yeah, so I know we're normally talking to like people who are doing business or, working on a business, but not so much always how do you get into something or get started with something, or how do you mix that business with your other causes and your other passions. And I've been following Aisha. I've known her for years, right? We know each other since undergrad, but now I've been following her social media journey, and I really was like, I gotta have you on to talk to the girls about how you're getting visible is helping all the other things in your life. So that is my not so brief intro. I'm gonna turn it over to Aisha to tell us a little bit about yourself and weave in there how you got started on this journey.
sure. So first, I want to say thank you for inviting me to be a part of this podcast. It really means a lot to me, and I'm just grateful. So thank you so much for having this space so that people can just learn, grow, and connect with each other. Um, and like you know me for years because we're the same members of the same organization. And actually, I got involved in social media by accident. Well, really not by accident because
Nothing by accident.
not by accident. When I mean, we all were on social media, but I for my chapter, Omega Mu Zeta chapter, which I'm one of the charter members. When we first chartered, each of us were delegated different things that we had to do. And ding ding ding, I was delegated social media, and I was like, I don't know anything about this. What, like, you want me to do what? Like, okay. And the president at the time was like, "Just do it." So I just did it. And so I actually, it wasn't just social media. So like people just think of that, but it really started with the content creation by bringing visibility of our chapter out. So I would do a lot of different like collages, different things like that. And our presence started to grow rapidly because it wasn't just like posting and then just leaving. I was engaging with people and creating like relationships with people online that they didn't know it was me. They thought they were connected directly with like the chapter president or directly with whatever committee that they seen. So from there I just like grew to like love content creation and social media in general. And then people would begin to ask me to help to do different things. My sister has been doing a web design for years. She shared different things with me. I began to learn more and I took different courses and everything. And I started doing social media for small businesses. And so I was behind like different jewelry companies, different things, different small organizations that people had no idea about, but that was me behind there. And it all was from like really from Zeta, adding that skill set to my toolkit. So and then from there, I was just like, well, I mean, I'm doing this for these other like organizations and businesses. I can content create, for myself. And at that time, I had met Naisha Andrews. She's a photographer. We met at work and we decided to start a business together, Culture Clicks Media and Photography, where that's exactly what we do. We do content creation, social media. She does photography. We do quite a bit with that. And I weaved in my advocacy journey by sharing my story online about having psoriasis. And from there, I created a group on Facebook for women of color with psoriasis, but also my Instagram page, which shares my journey, shares resources. And I do all of the things as far as social media, just the same that I've learned, when I learned how to do everything from doing it for Zeta. So, like, I intertwine all of it with everything that I do collectively.
I absolutely love that. And fun fact, and so this is gonna be a whole Zeta plug, y'all. I
I
got
know.
started in graphic and web design because I was doing flyers and building websites for my sorority in undergrad, right? That's literally how I started because, and I was in a couple of organizations, but we used to have these big parties. And like there, so we had a lottery and everybody got a Thursday because that was the night you could do parties on campus. so so everybody, like all the organizations could put into the lottery and get a Thursday night party. And these parties used to bring in thousands of dollars. When I say big parties, they was money makers.
Mm,
And so, but it was important that, you couldn't just be like, I got a date and everybody show up. You had to make sure you really promoted it, like one of the biggest, best, whatever, whatever. And so that's kind of how I started making those flyers, getting out there. I was in Zeta and I was in a couple of other groups, and we was all party girls. We was in all the clubs. So we was taking our flyers. This is back in the day, y'all, before
mm,
Hustle Social. But we was
right.
taking our flyers to all the other people's parties because if you got a party, you might as well promote your party, right? So we were those chicks. And so, but really my whole kind of, I guess my whole career is because I was doing that in undergrad and throughout the years, I did graphic, then I started with web, then I studied it more in school. And then, literally here we are. Here we
Listen,
are and still doing work for our organization. So, like I said, a whole thing of plug.
yes, still doing the
You
work.
learn those skills that help your life. Um, but I want to talk more about so many things I want to learn about because I love your content and I love how natural it is. And I definitely can you give us your channels where people can follow you? I know we usually do that at the end, but I want people to like look at this as they're listening to this. Your channels.
Sure, absolutely. So, if you want to learn more about my advocacy journey and myself living with psoriasis, is at Sisters with Psoriasis. That's SISTAS with psoriasis, one word on Instagram. You can find me there. Also on YouTube, Pinterest, and TikTok. I'm getting a little bit more into TikTok. That is a new field for me. If you want to follow the social media and photography page, that is at Culture Clicks Media. That's CULTURECLIX. Media is, in the word, one word. So, and if you just want to find out who I am, because I'm a crazy Gemini, you can follow me at your underscore friend Esh, ESH.
So we'll definitely have all of those links. And like I said, I wanted to share them now up front. So while they're listening, they can go see how good your content is because I love the way, like you're in the sorority, you've got a family, you've got your advocacy, like you're doing so many things. A lot of people struggle with, I've got so many things. How do I make them all part of one brand or what do I actually put on social? And you do such a good job at mixing in a little bit of everything. So where we feel like we know you. I mean, I know you, but we
Thank
feel like
you.
everybody else knows you. And like this life is so fun. So tell us a little bit about your process and how you even like decide where to go, decide what the post, decide how to intertwine things so that it is like, watching my friend each do all the good things.
Sure. So first and foremost, most important thing, authenticity. Just being myself, telling my story, sharing like the things that's like because I feel that when you try to do too much, like it doesn't resonate well. And if you're just authentic in what you share and what you want people to know about or what you're trying to teach them, they can connect with it well. So um initially, like I'm gonna be honest, as because I didn't really know too much about the run, I started just like with randomness. Like I didn't start this way. And that's the thing. People like they don't want to start things until they have everything done perfectly. And that's not the way. Like I
Good point.
literally started just trying to figure out and learn what people want to see what they connect with, what they like. And I can't say this enough. Metrics that tell the story. You have to read the numbers. The data tells the story. You could post all day long, but if you, if you don't see what works well, it's just like, throwing something and hoping it sticks. So once over time, I learned that it helped me to develop more of what I want to intentionally share. And then, so I base that off of really research and my metrics.
Love that. And can we get into this metrics conversation? Because so few people talk about metrics, and I love, like, I'm getting comfortable. I love a good data. Right? So tell us, what metrics do you look at? Like, what metrics are the most important for you?
The most important for me, I really want to see what people are engaging with. So if you don't have like your professional dashboard up for any of your channels, I encourage you. I know people are very like leery because they don't want to go public on their pages, but if you make those professional dashboards, you can see the metrics, you can see what people are engaging with, you can see what people are sharing with other people, you could see all of those numbers. I like to see like my audience, like, as how many women and men, where the location, what they clicked on, all like you have all of those tools accessible to you. So that's what I typically use. I try to see what people are engaging with the most, what they're saving the most, what they're sharing out the most, and then I just try to like create anything that's similar, or sometimes I reshare old stuff that I already put out that I know has worked.
I love that, resharing old stuff. That's important because we like to work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
Right? And get those different data points. Like I said, so many people like were like, well, I just kind of do what I feel. I do what my audience wants, but they don't really tell you, how do they get to that? How do you get to, even the feelings? And someone, who does a lot of content creation. And while you look at my metrics and I have like a lot of tools, sometimes it's just a feeling, but even that feeling is informed based on what I know has already worked. Right. And I
Right.
know it's already been out there. So no feeling is just a feeling.
Exactly. And it's okay if something doesn't work, because guess what? If it doesn't work, you know not to do it again. I'd rather know than to just be like, oh, random. And then because time is valuable and people don't recognize how much time it actually takes to create.
Ooh, that's another point. And I do want, I'm gonna write that down. Trying to create, because I got a question around that too.
Sure.
But before I get there, I want to talk about, because I know like a lot of you, or other than, for your advocacy, and you even kind of mentioned, is people are afraid to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of your content in all of the different areas are your face, and you building a personal brand around everything. What do you say to people who want to get into content creation, or who already like maybe have a business and they're like, I want to be out there more, but I'm afraid to put my face out there. I'm afraid to people to judge me. Like, what would you say to that?
I say fear forward. For me, that has been like the driving force for me. I have not only a personal brand that I'm building, but I feel that this is part of what I'm intended to do, like my purpose here. So my purpose, especially with my advocacy, is to impart like just like knowledge and support to others. I feel like that is part of who I am.
Mhm.
And for me, it's so important to be able to touch other people's lives. And I may never meet or see these people that I'm impacting, but I know that it's a greater purpose for me, and that's what I lead with, and I totally understand, like, why some people might be fearful, and, the internet can be a mean and scary place, especially TikTok, because some of those people, they be going in, but I learned how to block and
Oh,
delete really quickly because I know, like, what my purpose is. With both businesses, honestly, because even with Culture Clicks, our whole goal is to share, like, stories and share, like, our culture in an amazing and beautiful way, and, the only way to do that is to face, like, you know, judgment, to face fear, uncertainty. That's the only way that you can move forward. Now, if you've literally are afraid to show your face on different things, you don't even have to. There's ways around that. If that's one of if you're okay with creating everything, but you just physically don't want to make your physical presence shown, there's still are ways that you can make your presence in this realm without taking that leap. So there's literally no excuses. We got a whole thing for no excuses. There's literally no excuses out there. There's faceless everything. You still can get your work and your point, your message, or even your business out there.
I love that, and I love that you mentioned that you can do faceless, because I was gonna say, well, what if people don't really want to do their face? But also even sharing, like, because you share not just your family and your world, but also sharing part of your medical kind of, journey, your medical, I was gonna say medical history, but I guess it's part of it's happening now. So it's a journey, right? But part of even like your medical journey and things like that. How do you feel when you're bringing that in, and how do you do it, or do you purposely like do it just enough or not overdo it or feel like I'm always talking about my cause? Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, oh my gosh. I honestly was like terrified at first. Terrified. But I've lived with psoriasis my whole life, but I never had like major flares until later in life. So at the top of COVID is when I started experiencing my major flares. And honestly, I relied on social media, Facebook groups, Instagram, like all of these connections online, um, as support. And, I had to like get over my fear of what people were gonna think because I literally could not go to my dermatologist's office. No
Mhm.
one could go anywhere.
Yeah.
So and I was doing Zooms with my dermatologist. So like, for me, that's where I started to create my comfortability because I started connecting with other people who were like me. And as I seen that there wasn't like any specific groups for women of color, that's where I later created my own. But it wasn't easy. I won't lie. Like, it was not easy at taking that first leap, but knowing that, like, if I do this, then maybe I can find my tribe, my community, and maybe we all can come together. But it takes one. And if I feel this way, I'm willing to be that one.
I love that, and I thank you for being the brave one, like, on behalf of everyone. Sorry, I thank you because it does take one sometimes, and it takes a lot of guts and a lot of, just a lot to put yourself out there to begin with, and then to do it and knowing that you're the only one that looks like you and maybe has the life that you have and things like that, and that helping other people. So again, I thank you. I thank you for the rest of all of us. I appreciate that. Can you talk about some of the results you've gotten? Like, so once you start sharing your personal story, and I know like you're on a board, right? You're on a board, and now
I'm
you can.
on a lot.
So tell us a little bit about even you getting started, some of the results you've gotten from that. If somebody needs a little extra motivation,
Oh,
these.
sure. So, in reference to advocacy, I never in life imagined that I would be as involved as I am. I didn't even know there was a space for it. I started like literally just wanting to help others. And because the National Psoriasis Foundation was so like helpful and instrumental in like just providing the support I needed, my give back to them was just volunteering. So after like I began volunteering and mentoring, then like they connected me with different organizations. And then from there, I was asked to like speak at different things. I was asked to speak and share my story at a research symposium. That was one of the like biggest things one of the first big things that I did. And from there, opportunities started to come in. I was asked to write regarding my story with one company first. And then after my first like blog entry, I started getting so many different like companies reaching out to me, which I am now connected with. One of the major companies that like, I can only be a featured like a featured writer, special writer because of like, their other when you're working with these different organizations, you know, there's like the issues like with potential conflicts
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
so I'm a feature writer for a major company, but I write monthly for these other organizations. I've been invited to be on the Skin of Color Advisory Board, which I traveled to Indianapolis for a major pharmaceutical company, which I'm still on that board, and that was such an impactful event. I'm currently a patient research partner. This is a little known fact that people don't know, but I'm a current patient research partner for a 5-year clinical trial that is currently um, happening right now. And as a patient research partner, just ensuring that people of color are included, as well as just patient understanding and just like making sure that everything is done correctly and properly in a way that you know, patients aren't like abused or exploited or what have you. So I'm so excited to be a part of that, and that is with the University of Rochester in New York. So there's so many, let me tell you, it's like there's so many vast opportunities that can come just by becoming involved, and from me being involved, I later got connected with an organization that actually, provided me with a patient leader certification program that will now even offer me more opportunities to expand upon my advocacy. And so the big question, because people wanna know, "Well, what do you get from this?"
Yeah.
Like, people
There's
wanna
a lot
know.
that this sounds like a lot getting to me, but let's
Yeah,
hear it.
like, and people wanna know. Most of these, companies and organizations, they provide you with an honorarium. So I do receive an honorarium for, my blog entries. I do receive an honorarium when I'm asked to speak or be on advisory boards. So if you're thinking of, uh, potentially becoming an advocate like some people do it professionally, there is an avenue in which you can go in that route.
And for those who aren't familiar with honorariums, to be honest, sorority, we know about a good honorarium, but for those who aren't, that is most times some type of payment, right? It's a nice tax-friendly way of saying payment.
Yes.
Um, so just so those are like, well, what does that really mean? But I love the way you're doing it. I love how organic it's growing. But one of the things I think that I want to highlight is that you said this kind of all started COVID. So we're thinking early 2020. It is now 2024. We're doing this episode. And so what we're talking about 2, 3 years, this is kind of taken off in the last
Yes.
years. So I wanted to highlight that because sometimes people think, especially when you're growing organically, or if it's something like personal, people think it's going to take so long. I even get that with SEL, like, oh my God, it's going to take all this long time. But literally, from starting to really not even starting to be an advocate in 2020, but really starting to just, work on yourself health wise and really starting to share that journey within 2, 3 years, you're already on boards, you're already working with major brands, you're already getting honorariums. Like, I hope everybody picked that up.
Yeah.
Boards, it doesn't take a long, long time. It just takes you getting out there and getting out there, getting found and getting visible, like we talk about here on the show. So I love to hear that. And thank you for sharing that part of the journey. So I do want to talk about how much time, just day to day time, because this isn't all you do, right? And so tell us about how you incorporate this into your life and how much time, even the time it takes to make your different videos and things.
So I love, love, love calendars. And I swear by the multiple calendars, but I am very intentional about blocking out time and creating boundaries. So, which is huge because like you can't do everything. So for me, my content days are typically on the weekends. So I create usually on Saturdays or Sundays. I try to do as much batching. If people aren't familiar with that, it's just like creating a lot all at once, depending upon what type of content it is that's being shared. And then I will schedule out the majority of my content. The only thing, I can't schedule out are like stories and different things like that.
Mhm.
But for the most part, if it's just like a static or picture post or something like that, I'll try to utilize as many tools as possible. Because Monday through Friday, typically I'm working on my full-time job because people are like, well, I have a full-time job. And
And I think that's amazing, which is what I wanted to say. It's
yeah,
like, I'm on out to swim.
I do have a full-time job. I do spend about, I would say 2 hours in the evening, typically when my daughter's at cheer, working on business stuff. So, like, I do spend a few hours during the week, but not, like, as much time as I spend on Saturdays or Sundays, and I call them, like, lockdown days. So I will literally spend, like, depending on how much needs to be done, 4 to 8 hours on those lockdown days to get whatever I need to get done.
And do you do those like once a week or once a month? Like, are you doing them every weekend or are you like
Not
shit
every weekend
once
because
a
I
month?
try to do them, like, twice a month.
Okay. You see, I'm leaning in like I
Yeah, I
need
try to
them
do them
to.
twice a month, and I do quite a bit actually because I also, am the chair for our chapter's, social media. So, like, in addition to my own stuff, like, I'm doing the chapter stuff too. Thank God I have a great team that helps with that, but I literally have, like, the lockdown time, and I keep to that, and, throughout the week those 2 to 3 hours when I'm, like, at cheer or something else, I try to, like, respond to different things or, use that time to create if I have the time, but I try to, as much as possible, keep to the schedule.
I love that, and no one because a lot of folks are, doing it, 9 to 5, doing this, doing that, and I get a lot of, "Oh, well, I can't," "I can't because of," and you do such a great job of A, getting the content out there, right? Forever consistent, right? And B, incorporating what you're already doing, like what you're doing with the kids, what you're doing with the family, what you're doing with the organization, what you're doing with other, or like when I say organization, I mean our sorority, but what you're doing with our sorority and what you're doing with other organizations, like you make it all part of life. You make it look so easy. I
Well,
need
thank you.
to
Let
practice
me tell
more.
you, can I just share an amazing tool,
Mhm.
Asana. I don't know if you're familiar with Asana, but listen, guys, try it out. I promise you, it's incredible. And then you can add like team members to it, so you can assign different things out. Get the little check mark when it's done. I'm a visual person, so if I can see that things are done, or if they're not done, then I can tend to it. But I swear by the calendar. I swear by do not disturb. I will put it on my phone to not be disturbed during that time unless it's like major emergencies going on. But um you have to set the time and create boundaries also because sometimes people might want more from you. Like if you set the boundaries, then you'll be able to keep to the goal.
I absolutely love that. And I know you mentioned because you said team, and I don't think you have a huge team. So I do want to talk a little bit about that. And you have your sister, your twin sister, who I feel like we should have a picture of her right now, although she looks like Ayesha. So the picture would look the same. But I always love that. And she does what helps with your web design and your web stuff, right?
Yes.
So talk a little bit about what kind of support do you have? Do you have a team or people that you work with that kind of just to give people the full context of could they do this too?
Sure. So very small team. So with Culture Clicks is myself and Naisha, and Lakeisha is our web designer. And for Sisters with Psoriasis, it's literally me and my sister. She helps with the web design. But I didn't mention this earlier, but we also own High Vibes Lifestyle, which I like do the social media and stuff for. And there's a team of three. So myself, my sister, and Eileen Calderon, who's our the co-owner, our business partner. So like with each of the businesses, a very small team. I do rely on support from I'm gonna be honest, like my kids, they're indirect members of the team because
I can't
actually
wait till my kid gets to that age.
can I
I can't
tell like,
wait.
people don't know it's like what? Listen, my daughter is the one who taught me how to use CapCut. Had it
Love it.
not been for her, now I'm very proficient in CapCut, but, like, she's the one who taught me. So, like, I use, like, our main team that's, like, who are, like, the business partners, but also, like, different resources, or I might even ask, like, other people who I do have mentors, so I might have that I cannot stress enough. Please get a mentor because then they will be able to guide and direct you if you need additional help or support.
I love that. I absolutely, because yeah, we all like need somebody. I swear I'm trying to train a kill.
Listen, people don't think they need I would not be able to do as much as I'm able to do if I didn't have the team support, and I like, it doesn't have to be huge, but if you have people that are willing and capable and knowledgeable, utilize their strengths.
Mhm. Absolutely. So you mentioned 2 tools so far, Asana and CapCut. What other tools are you using kind of in your day-to-day
Ooh,
creation?
I use so like people have no like I if you look at my desktop and like or my phone, you would see so many tools. I use CapCut with, video editor. I use InShot. I use Asana just like, to manage things for me. I use Midjourney to create. That's like one of my newest things that I'm learning to do with the AI. So I use Midjourney. Um, there's so many different
We
tools
gotta get to
that
our
I
SEO assist. I'm just sitting here like, I don't think you're on
Oh,
assist.
yes, we gotta get
It's too long. But
who doesn't use ChatGPT? I use that, but I do have a favorite though. Like I use one called Writer MI. Oh my god, that one, or is it Writer ME? I'll get the official name, but I use that as well. So many different resources and tools that I use. Like I use Pexels, so, like, for people who are looking for free images to use, you can go to pexels.com, you can use that for free images. I use so many tools. I wish I had them, like, up here so I could I'll
oh,
share
okay. But
and
we'll
list.
definitely put the list in the show notes for you guys. But again, I want my audience to hear how this actually happens because a lot of times we feel like 2 things. 1, "Oh, I can't do this." And 2, "Oh, I can do this with nothing." Right?
Oh, Canva! Oh my gosh,
Okay,
how did I
Canva's
forget
another one. So it's
Canva is
important. Yeah, if you don't have a huge team of people or a huge budget, and these tools are what help make it happen, what help make it doable, even if you don't have all those things or it's not because this isn't what you studied when in college, right? You went to school for
No, I went to
something.
school for psychology, and then later I got my master's in management. So, and that was public service management. But I just want to say something, and I know like a lot of people they might feel iffy about it, but if you can invest in yourself, invest in your business, and get premium subscriptions. I
Mm.
can't stress that enough because I promise you it makes the difference. It really does. And you have access to so many more tools. If you're worried about the cost, worry about it later with the taxes coming. But
Honorariums.
yeah, but like invest in your business and if you want to do better or more, like you'll have access to so many different things if you just invest a little bit.
So one or two more questions because I want to talk a little bit more also about how you're using your personal brand for your advocacy and things like that. So unlike most people that are on, we're talking to people about only how you're using it to build your business. How do you measure like, if you're telling people to donate or you're telling people to attend something or something like that, how do you measure how effective your content and your work is helping to get the message out there? How is that actually resonating if it's not clicks coming to your website or people signing up for your opt-in? How are you measuring?
Well, I mean, I do still like look at the metrics in that way, but there's way like some of the donation things are directly connected to whatever I share. So I'm able to see in that
Okay.
way, like, if people donated directly to me. But like, for example, I went and I spoke at the New York Floor de Cure for the National Psoriasis Foundation, and it was a paddle race, type of event, auction event, and literally people came to me afterwards and told me, like, they donated more because of my share, because of my story.
Oh,
So I was able to, like, learn directly from those who were impacted by what I shared, that I was the reason behind that. So getting, that feedback from people directly, seeing, if people are donating based off of whatever individualized links that I have, those are ways that I'm able to measure and know if what I'm doing is creating the impact that I need to in order to build and, in my fundraising efforts for that. But there's different ways
mhm.
that you see. I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, are you using any of that to get your next opportunity, or people or opportunities coming to you, or are you actually going out and
I
pitching out?
honestly have not sought opportunities. Everything that has happened has come to me. I'm so like, I I don't know if you've seen the Club Shay Shay, but, um, with Monique, and she's, in the interview, she says, "There's offers only." I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm so serious. Like, and I really believe that whatever is intended for you, like, opportunities will come to you if they're meant for you. And there's so many, there's some I can't do. Like, I literally have to say no.
I love that, and I think that's another really important message for the audience is that, we spend a lot of time on pitching and getting out there, and that's why when I tell people, people are like, "How I get speaking engagements?" I don't like when they ask me.
Yeah, like,
But and I feel like people think we're crazy when we say things like that, but oftentimes, if you're consistently creating and people consistently see what you're doing, you actually have to pitch less. You
yes,
gotta put out there less, and like you said, you even to the point where, you gotta say no to some things because people, they ask me not because, well, I feel like I'm amazing, but not because I'm just that dope, but they ask because they saw me out there and they're like, "This is what I want my people to do." Same, I'm the action to be in the show because I've seen you out there and I'm like, my audience needs to hear from you.
uh,
So if you're thinking about, or if you're one of the people who don't like pitching and don't like stuff, like it still helps to have your metrics in case you need to. But if you're thinking that you don't like going out there and asking people, sometimes just doing it and creating it is a powerful way to get more people to come to you.
people will come once they see girl get visible. Get
Mhm.
visible. That's it. Like, if people see you, they can connect with you, and then they'll want to learn more. But you have to be seen. People have to know that you exist. So it's important.
I absolutely love that. And I want to thank you, thank you, thank you so much for saying yes and having this conversation. Cause I know I just came out the blue in your inbox. Like, look,
Thank you for
because
having
I knew your journey was just so powerful, and so it would help so many people because people feel like they gotta have a hardcore business in order to use any of the knowledge that I talk about, or order to make a difference. That I've got to have all these business plans and coaching service, all these things, and really you can just do it being you and do it based on things that you care about, things that are happening in your life, and I love that part of your story. So as we wrap up, tell everybody once again where to find you and any final words you'd want to tell the audience.
Sure. So if you want to find me, you can find me. If you want to learn about my advocacy, is at Sisters with Psoriasis. One word. All of this is going to be shared. If you want to learn more about the media and photography, it's at Culture Clicks Media. And also, if you want, I didn't talk too much about this, but at High Vibes Lifestyle, that's where you have like a lot of fun stuff going on with fitness and health. And if you just want to learn about who I am, just follow me at your friend underscore Ish. Yes.
I love
And
that.
final, oh yeah, I do all of the things. But final words, just do it. Like, go after it, be great, and don't like fear forward, fail forward. The only way that you'll know if something will work is if you try. But if you don't put yourself out there, then you'll never know. And no one wants to live a life of regrets. So it's better to fail forward, to fear forward, than to like not even know where your greatness lies ahead.
I love that. You know how they always associate YOLO, you only live once, with dumb stuff. YOLO is for smart things too, right?
It is. It's for everything.
Well,
I would
thank
never have thought like I did the presentation like about like sharing, impacting me. I never thought when I made that my first YouTube video and my Instagram post that I would be where I'm at today. And it was just, hey, let me just go after it. So I encourage you all, just go after it.
Let's do it. I love that. Absolutely, absolutely love that. So thank you once again for being here and for saying yes to me when I jumped in your inbox. I know this episode is going to bless a lot of people. And for my girls out there getting visible, and my guys, and all the guys that get visible too, but for my girls and guys, head on over to the SEO Growth Mob group. We'll be chatting more about this and more about different ways you can get out there, get found, and get visible. Thank you for being here. We'll see
Thank
you in the
you.
next episode.
Bye.